Is the Boss live stream show, which is all about shining a light on female founders and women doing extraordinary things in business. And one of my favorite of those women is the lovely Carrie Benedet. So, Carrie, I'm so glad to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for agreeing to do it.
Oh, Jules, you are a darling. I love talking to you. So we're not going to have any problem at all, are we? Hi, everybody. Great to have you on board as well.
Okay, so let's start off with what about, and I know it's been changing a bit because, and I've mentioned that you've done a bit of a pivot, but what's the name of your business and why do you do it?
Look, my business is Thriving Matters, and under Thriving Matters, a lot of matters. There's a lot of things that matter, and thrive. And Jules, the reason I do it is because thriving isn't easy. The way I look at life is that we are adaptable to so many different situations. Then we get hit by a tsunami. Then we have
a pandemic, global, as the case may be.
Then we have a global virus that hits us. We at the moment we're being hit by incredible technology. It's going faster than we can breathe, I think, and I just believe in that. And it's not been easy. I don't pretend to be a Pollyanna. I don't pretend to be.
Although you are always very positive, I have to say.
I like to maintain some optimism about we have a choice. In a lot of things, we have a choice.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And Jules, you know how important mindset is. You have got one of the most delicious mindsets I think I have ever known for women, because women can be really envious of each other. They don't necessarily want to shout out for each other, but I just think we need to be what we call above the line. We need to be thinking not just for ourselves, but we pay forward in all that we do. So thank you for paying forward for me today, and for all the gals that you've got on She's the Boss, and all the guys that support you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about what all those matters are that are underneath Thriving Matters, though. I know you've got the podcast where you've had loads of fabulous people on. Tell us a little bit more about the podcast and all the other bits and pieces you're doing. I know you've finished some retreats, but you've got more planned. You've got a background in education. Just tell us a whole lot about you.
Well, everyone, look, I'm teacher trained. I fell pregnant 2 weeks after I got married. So
stop it. You did not.
I did. Have I never told you that one? There you go.
2 weeks. That's not long.
No. Well, I had the Billings book, good Catholic girl, and I went, holy dooly, I think we made a mistake. A beautiful mistake.
Anyway. And now you have 11 grandkids, I think, don't you?
No, 8. No.
8 grandkids. Incredible. So that's my mum that I'm thinking of has 11.
So I in falling pregnant, so I had to decide. So I'd started to teach. I'm home economics trained, so that's home science. So give me 100 people to cook for, knock it out of the park.
Yeah, great.
But I love textile and design, the creating, the beading, the gowns, everything. So I spent a decade at home, because we then had not just one, but we're blessed with 4 children. They're our 4 living assets. And 3 of them have given me 8 grandchildren. So they're not doing too badly, but so I stayed at home for a decade. So I grew up in a newsagent, though. And for me, that was really great service training, customer service.
Yeah.
And you had to work, Dad was hard taskmaster, but it was mum and dad's business. The kids, there's 6 of us, and we all helped build the business. So I sort of was in that mentality. So I stayed at home and I sewed for cash money. Interest rates hit 17.5%. We had one wage. We lived off $200 a week, and I sewed. So I made a fair bit of cash money.
Right. Wow, this is a great story.
Yeah, and so I got involved in parent groups. So I put my hand up, and I think I was seen as fairly reasonable. So I put my hand up, and I ended up being P&F president of the local school, the high schools, I led a state parent body for Catholic parents. So I got to work with Ministers for Education and the Board of Studies at the time, and it was absolutely incredible grounding. And then after a decade was over, I got a call to say, are you interested in this job? And I said, what job? The job we've had posted, it's a parent educator role. And I just went, what? Really? And then I went, okay, I'm learning on the job, because
Yeah.
you're on L plates when you're parents. You get to your P's. I don't think you ever get to that full license.
I don't think so either.
Until you're white like I am now. But anyway, yeah, so I did a lot of those things. And the reason I tell you this is because when I look back, I look at where I stepped into leading. So I believe in leaders, and my passion is really to work with leaders. So I still work a lot in education, but I work with individuals as well, because at the moment we're in a time when people are choosing to leave corporate life. They're choosing to get much more of a rounded, holistic lifestyle, which includes their work. And so I got the opportunity at work. I work for a large educating community here in Sydney. But I got to work with middle managers and leaders across a whole range, with coaching, emotional intelligence, designing, professional development. And I got to take some groups on retreats. And look, as I say it, I get goosebumps. And this happens to me every time, because this is the heart stuff. This is who we are. It's finding a space to really think about your values, your beliefs, and your assumptions, and surrounding yourself with the right people, asking yourself big questions.
Which is so important.
Yeah. And so anything I do talks about thriving, number one. So we have Thriving Matters, which is the podcast where I talk to ordinary guys and gals about doing extraordinary things in life and work.
Right.
And so we've done a whole pivot around global leaders. We've got a great program that we went around the world during COVID. That's still available, where you can see that online. Global Leaders Thrive. It's brilliant. And some of those people are still my friends, are still my contacts.
That's a testament to you, Carrie.
Yeah, I just feel honoured that I had technology to get me out of my room, out of my house during COVID, and I just used to get an electronic passport. So we do Global Matters Thrive. I work in emotional intelligence as well. So I'm certified. You probably think I am after this, but I'm certified with Genos International, fabulous international group of assessments and reports on how to be a great salesperson. So emotional intelligence.
Oh, right.
People don't like the word a lot. They don't like coaching either. They think there's something wrong with you, but it's life-giving. And so in going around the world last year, we actually put a book together. So I brought together some of those originals, and we called it Global Matters. I'm giving myself a plug.
Great. I'm very glad to see. Yeah.
Great cover. But Global Matters, because so many people were saying to me, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm weary, I don't like what's happening with the way the business or the corporate structure's going, the organisation. I want to do more of what I love. I know I've got to get a better balance for life and work. Lots of things have happened to me. I've got to bounce back. I've got to find a way to live with the trauma or the struggle that I've gone through, the challenges that meet us, and be able to contribute still, because I'm a fabulous person. And so anything I do.
I think that's been a profound shift post-COVID, where so many people have said, even if I stay in my job, I need something else that gives me some sort of purpose. And of course, women are so good at running purpose-driven businesses, trying to make change happen in the world. It's wonderful to see.
It's amazing what you can do. And now my self-belief is that you surround yourself with the right people. So there are some that you don't need.
No, that's very true.
And you learn great lessons from them. They're real gifts, either way, right? And then there are people, like your group of Women for She's the Boss. Everyone there is out to see how they can pay forward, how they can help each other, and who they can connect each other with. And so, it's a great space.
Sorry, there's a little comment from
God
someone
bless you.
that I thought was so lovely. So and I think with this shift, what you're doing is so important as well. And it's I'm interested to know, have you found that you're really making a difference with a lot of people that you're working with now?
Well, I'm just going to go back to that shift.
Sorry, keep going.
No. If you don't mind, I will share this. My mum, who was 93 in July, she died in January after quite a long illness. Now,
Right.
being the eldest of six, and being here in Sydney, I had quite a bit of responsibility. I felt I had quite a bit of responsibility. And in Mum's passing, as you do, I just decided I needed to take my book, take a new workshop around thinking globally but acting locally in your leadership, and we'll expand on that.
Yeah.
And focus on wellness. So lead myself. So I'm big, you'll hear me say, you've got to lead yourself to lead others.
So
you've got that awareness. And so I took off and I went to the UK. I had homestays, would you believe, most incredible people that I met during COVID who said, Carrie, come and stay a couple of days. Yeah, all online. Stay a couple of days. I met up with so many people, and then I came home. My husband's Italian, Northern Italian. So I came home via the family, and it's really hard country to visit because it's only an hour out of Venice, right? My heart's...
Oh, fabulous. And Prosecco country.
It is. It's definitely. And we did a lot of those, don't you worry. And we did castles, but we're going to have a retreat there for leaders as well, Jules. And the aim is for next year. So I did a bit of background work. So in the mourning and the grieving, often you get a time. It's really sacred time, even though you don't know what the hell you're thinking about sometimes, but you need some processes. So I found that I needed to get my shoes on and just walk and talk. And people say to me, Carrie, you're away a fair bit. What was the best part about it? And I just, my answer is always the people.
Walks.
I don't find it difficult, listeners. Kelly, you probably understand this, to talk. So
one of the things, many things that I love about you. Yes.
And some of the authors I met up with, and I'd never met them personally. And really, when you sit back on it, you think, wow, I chose well. They chose me and I chose them. So for some reason, that energy field. So the new work has morphed into wellness. This notion of wellness in your thriving for your leadership, right? Whatever it is you're doing. And I believe now, I think I have to look at things holistically, particularly after, lots of stuff comes out. Family dynamics are interesting, aren't they?
That's one word for them, for a lot of people anyway.
No, they say you can choose your friends. So I'm a big believer in trying to choose how I want to be treated. And usually you get the bumps, you get the triggers, and you know your behaviour alters when things aren't going your way. So I've made a few. I'm blessed. I've got four beautiful children, adults, and now the grandchildren. So they give me a lot of joy. And so now I think this is who I do it for, because they will be leading the world. When I'm long gone, I'm not going in the box, I'll go off the cliff, but I'm not, when I'm long gone, they will be leading the world. So what lessons? So Jules, it's like the beautiful Vicky, who belongs to She's the Boss as well, Vicky Jamison.
Yes.
Her chapter is fantastic in this. She's a member of She's the Boss, a Melbourne girl. Alex Blake, Sonia Furlong, there's a whole ton of them, Debbie Small, and you seek out someone to help you with it, as we all do. We're not alone. We just can't do everything alone. But the message really, I think, is for the world. It's a view of humanity that I have that says we have a personal contribution. We've got a personal responsibility here.
For the next generations coming behind us, so important.
Yeah, and we've got two enablers at the moment. We've got incredible technological innovation.
Yep.
And we've got hugely expanded networks.
Yes.
You are providing us with an expanded network, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we harness some of these and use it for good purpose, not for
evil
or degrading or ruining people's reputations, you name it. I believe that's my job, and I get a lot of joy out of doing that. So
I love that. Now, talk to me a little bit. You were saying that you've got leaders who can act locally with a global lens, I think you said. I can't remember exactly the words.
Yep.
But expand on that and tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, if we use global, I mean, I get an instant picture of the globe, and give me any excuse to get on a plane and I'll be there. So it's about exploring what we don't know. So leaders have to explore their own leadership. So if we think bigger than ourselves, if we think big picture, it's beyond us, but we are part of that. And then if we, that personal responsibility, the expanded networks, the technology helps us get there so that we can bring our leadership into our local context.
Right.
So where we are. So I work with leadership teams, middle leaders in particular. They're critical because they're like the hamburger, right? They are leading up and down. They've got people directly reporting to them, and they directly report to their managers or their
and actually it's interesting because I remember talking with Christine Core from People Coach a few years ago about the need for the focus of so much training and leadership training is on the leadership team, but it's actually those middle managers that need those skills in order to be able to get themselves up to the C-suite and the leadership teams.
That's it. And we often miss those who are aspiring to leadership who don't get noticed because they're doing, like, take education, for example. In Australia, we still teach in a style that is decades old.
Antiquated is the word that springs to mind. Yes,
decades old. Now, if you look at Mind Valley,
even more than a century old. Let's be honest. Yes. I mean, it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, but if you look at Mind Valley and what they do, the number of people that say to me, "I've just done another course on Mind Valley. Oh my gosh, I love that platform." There's so many ways we can now learn. Our kids are learning on these. They don't have to go to school.
So am I. I mean, especially all the stuff that they teach at school, which is because they're using this older model. It's, I don't know. I mean, I keep thinking just choose a country or a place and then do all the maths and biology and geography around it rather than this sort of old way of learning. But anyway, it has to be changed. There has to be a revolution.
Well, one of the other things I did last year was not only did we put the book out, but we also started a magazine called Thriving Matters for Global Leaders. And so I'm bringing education, culture, and business together. So
love it.
Yeah, I've got really substantially recognised educators who write prolifically because they are connected around the world. They're dealing with OECD, Middle East, anything, Asia, you name it, they're dealing with it. But also entrepreneurial business people who have got apps for coaching and AI and neuroscience put together. Fantastic. Ben Newsom is incredible. He's got physics ed. He's got an online platform. He's a Churchill fellow. I love him to death. And he's a huge advocate for how to work together, how to look, takes kids to Mars. He does all these satellite things. Like he's hands-on, but he blends different ways to teach. And science is a fantastic subject for that because he just loves blowing things up. Most kids do too, right? But
especially boys.
Yeah. And so, I'm looking at different ways. There'll be tips for how you can develop yourself. There's a principal who will write about what it's like to lead a school community. There's a thriving story from someone who's had 40 years in education. So we give them a blast. So anything I like to do, I think I've probably gone around it the wrong way, but the pieces are all there.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds extraordinary. So in literal terms, if someone wants to work with you, so say they're watching this and they think you're amazing, as you are, what sort of services are you offering right now that people can get involved with in your world?
I offer one-on-one coaching, and at the moment I've got quite a few clients who are looking to go for another job, are looking to repurpose or climb up a little bit, diversify what they're doing. So we work on that. So one-on-ones, small groups and teams. I speak, I do guest speaking. I can do huge workshops,
Yeah.
that bring together a whole lot of practical strategies, things that are simple, just like using this beautiful hand of ours, things that are simple that
Yeah.
you can just use, look at it and go, I know a strategy I can use right now. I've got to jump from two very difficult conversations. I need a breaker so that I can be as present as possible and be on for this particular person in this particular context, right? I need to make sure that I'm keeping healthy so that I sleep, eat, and have some mindful practices in place. I
Yeah.
need to be able to make sure that I'm moving. For girls my age, I tell you what, it's getting harder to get rid of the middle little
Oh,
bit,
yes.
and you ache a little bit more. So all these things are great. And one of my colleagues in India, beautiful girl, did a gut health retreat with her, and you know the
Wow.
latest science is showing us that we're not separate parts to the body. We are all lined up together. It's all linked, the vagus nerve all the way down through our gut, into our brain, into our blood circulatory system, you name it. And I just think it's one of those things, you know, we often think, oh, it doesn't matter what you put in yourself or what you're eating, but it
More and
bloody
more
does.
now, I think.
It does.
And also as we get a bit older, we develop allergies and all sorts of things.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you really do need to stay on top of it.
So we've got
Okay,
programs. So
oh,
we've
yeah,
got, and we've also got the wellness leadership program that looks at this notion of contribution, looks at how we can do that. So our resilience, our well-being, our awareness, how we can have an alliance with people. So we're bringing that in together. So the whole wellness thing. But I'm a pretty good coach. I'm a little bit different to everybody
oh, I
else.
bet you are. I bet you are. I think that's fantastic. So can you tell me, we haven't got too much longer, but I'd love a little story about maybe someone that you've worked with and the difference that it's made working with you. Can you give me an example or two?
I do. One of the principals I've been working with, I had known for a while, and he moved areas and then rang and said, I've now moved somewhere new, I want you. And we have this, in this particular case, he has access to a budget provided for all principals in the system for their well-being, but there's a few stipulations: annual health check, a coach, and somehow some way to develop your EA. So they can do some of the admin, some of the stuff that we don't have to do, right? Anyway, so I've been working with him. Now, he's finishing up into one of his last contracts, probably.
Right.
And he says, I've learned how to do lots of these things, and seems to me that the leaders, they've pulled out a lot of support for developing leaders because it's change management, it's, you know, the recession, you name it. There's always big decisions happening. And so he said, I said, so have you got a book in you? Have you got a book in you?
Yeah.
Oh, I have. So we started down this track, and he's really excited. And then he said to me in our conversations, oh, I'm not quite sure. And as he's talking
About the book,
about why he was doing it and how it was going and blah blah blah, and he'd gone to the head of the system to say, would you support me in publishing this? And he got a big no.
Right.
So when we're going through this, I just listened and we asked more questions, and then I said to him, do you think we are aiming this at the right audience, and through doing it through a book? Should we be looking at another way to get your message out, and how could we do that?
Nice.
And so basically it's a coaching strategy. You break things down into small steps. So we started with journal articles, and he has been recognised by Australia's leading Australian educational journal, and he has had about four journal articles put in.
Oh, brilliant.
And finally the system has said, come and tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well done, Carrie.
So that's one, But
it's demonstrating his leadership skills to other people and his writing ability, I guess, Jules, in baby steps.
Well, absolutely. And Jules, you know what it's like to host an opportunity, host the space. And that's all coaches do, really. They host They think about it, you ask the questions, you can move between coaching and mentoring, when there needs to be a boot put in, when you need to get the engines revving. But it is so valuable. So I have my own coaches as well. I don't not have them.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Oh, Carrie, I just absolutely love what you do. If somebody is watching and would like to work with you, what is the best way for them to be able to get hold of you?
You'll find Carrie Benedet, just how it's spelled on the screen, on all socials. So if you put Carrie in, LinkedIn's probably the best.
Yeah.
It's a great platform. Facebook, Instagram. You'll see me doing some under 1 minute reels. So we're all coaching, but it's actually very interesting to do those because you can become more succinct.
A real discipline to try and get it into under a minute.
And look, Jules, if anyone is really interested and they would like copy of the book, I've got a few that I can mail down. So if you wanted to put that in, there's if you're interested in the book, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon and you can get it, at various places. But if you want to say hi,
nice to Carrie and you say hi and you mention this interview, then she might send you one. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you make sure you give me an address and a mobile phone number with that. Happy to pop that. If that people hear this on either Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, sorry, I'm happy to do that.
Well, that's lovely of you.
Thank you. That's all right. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. I love your story. I'm so happy to be able to share it. I hope if you've been watching this that you have enjoyed it. I have to do a shout out for the lovely Eve John, who is sponsoring this show from Boardroom 51. And that is because she wants to get women to 51% of board members. And she particularly specializes in helping women get their first boardroom gig, ideally a paid one. You can also check out, Carrie and I are both there, the She's the Boss group at she'sthebossgroup.com, where we have all our events for the year and we have stacks of events coming up, including one in Sydney in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or join the She's the Boss Facebook group, where we've got about over 4,000 really active members. I also coach / mentor women about how to make themselves more visible, but I work with a lot of women to help them grow their businesses. And last but definitely not least, do take a look at womenspeakers.com.au or go to the Facebook or LinkedIn group for Australian women speakers, because the more we gather together and are easier to find, the more likely it is that we'll start getting more and more gigs. At the moment, women are only 30% of speakers and we want to get that to 50%. So thank you again, Carrie. You're amazing. I love you.
Thanks, Jules.
I'll look forward to seeing you up in Sydney on the 26th.
I'll be great. High five, everybody. Look